there we go.
Growing up at a young age, my grandfather raised me on a farm, and I started shooting a shotgun when I was 5 years old. The first time I went to shoot sporting clays, my aunt took me to a place called Champion Lake Gun Club, and we got out there and they were having a tournament. And the tournament was going on, so they said, well, you can't shoot unless you shoot in the tournament. And I was like, well, we've already drove 2 hours out here. I don't want to turn around and go home, so go ahead and put me in the tournament. They had 87 shooters in the tournament, and I ended up making third place out of 87 shooters. And I thought to myself, man, this is something I really want to do. For one, I got to shoot my shotgun 100 shots. And number two is I did really well. I came in third place out of 87, 88 people. So I was hooked at a young age. When I first started shooting, my dad went with me to shoot. And a lot of times, you know, without him, I probably would have never made it to the top. The reason being is because he would go and he did the hours when I would shoot 4 days a week. He would go with me at Champion Lake Gun Club. A lot of times he would reload the shotgun shells. Now he would reload them, but he'd make me pay for them. Okay, he wouldn't pay for them, he'd make me pay for them. He's always made me earn and be proud to, you know, have the dollar bill. My mother, she would get money, and a little bit of extra money she would get and give it to me to go to tournaments, because, you know, we didn't have any money. And I mean, we had some money, but not any money to be going and wasting to go just shoot up in the air at tournaments. And she would give me money to go and compete in these competitions and things like that. And that's part of the process that made me the top shooter that I am today, is because without that, I might not ever made it. You know, the way I was going to become a champion was, I figured, with a lot of hard work and a lot of dedication and going to a lot of tournaments. What I did is I put myself on a practice routine. Practice routine consisted of 1,500 targets a week. That was literally how I had to practice 4 days a week, and about every time I would go practice, I would shoot about 400 rounds. It was expensive because I didn't have a shell sponsor, I didn't have a gun sponsor. And then I became friends with guys like John Kruger, Scott Roberts, and Andy Duffy, Doug Fuller, you name it, the list goes on, of top shooters that were shooting and winning at the time. And then that's when me and Scott hooked up and started going to a lot of shoots together, became friends, and that's when my shooting really took off, is when I started having somebody to practice with at the local ranges and go with to these local shoots and to shoot with, and it really helped my game. Being a member of Team USA was a big honor, because I not only got to shoot with competitors that I used to compete with, we got to go overseas and compete as well. One of my fondest moments was when I went to South Africa. The coolest thing about South Africa is, one of the coolest things was we went on a big dove hunt together, and before we got there, they told us, now look, don't get out of this field, because we killed 3 black mambas in this field before we got there. Well, me and Scott, we couldn't hardly hunt, because we couldn't help but look on the ground around where we were walking. And it was plowed ground. I mean, it was like cement out there. There wasn't a stitch of grass on the place. But, you know, getting to shoot with guys like Andy Duffy, Scott Robertson, John Kruger, every time I would hear the gun go off, I knew something was going to hit the ground. It was a huge honor when I got the call that I was going to be in and nominated into the Hall of Fame.
Bobby and I just really became like brothers. He was with me the night I met Wendy. We've traveled all over the world together. We've hunted all over the world together. There are so many stories that I could tell you about Bobby and I. We found this railroad track in Reno, and you could jump at about 20 feet. And so every time I would jump it, Bobby would giggle louder and louder. And I'm like, okay, one more time. Well, finally, the front bumper and the rear bumper fell off. Bobby, proud of you. You've worked hard, a lot of years, a lot of targets. Congratulations. I mean, the Hall of Fame is the pinnacle of our sport, and you're certainly one of the greatest shooters that the game's ever seen, so congratulations.
It's good to see a guy like Bobby go into the Hall of Fame. He's been around the sport a long time, won 2 or 3 national titles, I can't remember what, but he's definitely been a long-time face in the NSCA, been a long-time supporter and done a lot for the sport over the years.
Just wanted to congratulate Bobby Fowler on going to the Hall of Fame. He's well deserving. He's been shooting for a long time at the top of the shooting field. Done a lot for the youth and everybody else. Just congratulations to Bobby. I'm glad that he's going in this year.
I think it's a long time coming. It's deserved. He's worked very, very hard over the years, and I know that he may not get as emotional about it, but inside he is. He's very proud of what he's done. I'm proud of him. I don't want to cry, but it's just Bobby is everything to me. He's my best friend. You know, one of the funny things he told me when we first started dating, the reason he had never been married is that he would never marry unless he knew he could be the best husband, that he wanted to be the best at everything he did in his life, and he is the best husband.